Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into your Friday edition of Wasatch Weekends. We love getting to be here every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to bring you great information. Now, today is May 24th, which means that we are making our way into a long weekend, and so happy pre-Memorial weekend for everyone out there. Now, we hope that you have a great time, and if you're looking for something to get out there and do, well then, Park City Film Series is the perfect place for you to go, and Katie Wang always gives us some great information on what you can go and enjoy and watch over there. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. We're also going to introduce you to the sheepdogs that come to Soldier Hollow, and you're not going to want to miss it. We're going to take a look at that local weather forecast right now. If you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, well then the Park City Film Series has got you covered because their popcorn bar is absolutely exquisite and you're not going to want to miss out. But we're going to introduce you to Katie Wang.
Now, welcome back to Wasatch Weekends. Our next guest is certainly no stranger to us, and she is quite the influencer in our community. Joining us today is Katie Wang of Park City Film. Katie, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm getting ready to head off to Mountain Film in Telluride. So,
oh my goodness, it sounds incredible and like so much fun. But we're heading into the Memorial Day weekend. So, what is happening and beyond?
so for this holiday weekend, we have a great film program. It's called Uproar, and it's a film from New Zealand. And it's kind of a coming of age comedy, drama. What we like to say in the biz is a dramedy. But it's about a Maori, half white, half Maori boy, so mixed race teenager living in New Zealand, and just how he finds his voice in a very white community that he is surrounded by and learns to stand up for himself and for his family and what he believes in. It's set against a backdrop in 1981 of protests that were happening all over New Zealand when the South African rugby team came to town, or to the country rather. And there were protests against apartheid and racism and just this kind of moment of recognition of, how are we protesting what's going on overseas and not kind of looking within what's going on within our own country, the racism against the Maori people. And so beautiful film, great acting, of course, Julian Dennison, who you may know from Hunt for the Wilder People, who was also in Deadpool, Reese Darby, Minnie Driver, but just great actors that have that kind of searing comedic wit that even when it's kind of a dramatic moment, the way that they deliver it is just they lighten it up a little bit. So it's a little more palatable, but just kind of get you laughing, get you thinking, all of those great elements of independent cinema that we love so much.
It sounds like a great film to have for a holiday weekend where it just puts people in a good spirit. So a good spirits, but also contemplates real topics. So very important. So when is the showings, and tell us all about it?
So Friday, Saturday at 7, and then again Sunday at 6. You can get tickets, of course, at parkcityfilm.org or on our website, or rather in person at the box office an hour before showtime.
Great. Now we are heading into, not to rush the month of May because it sounds like a really great film for the weekend, but what is happening in the month of June as we continue to move our way through summer?
Yeah, so we have a couple more weekends at the Santee where we're doing our regular weekend screenings, and then we kind of shift into summer mode. Pre-COVID, we had a very different summer schedule, and it was quite light. Since COVID, what we've realized, which has been fantastic, is there is a huge audience for the films that we program in the summertime as well. So we'll be taking things on the road, doing some pop-up screenings throughout Summit County, mostly on the east side. So that's Camas, Colville, Hannaford, Hoytsville. So look for some pop-up screenings out there in our summer program. And then we're also really excited to be bringing a Studio Ghibli Film Festival to town. So that'll be an indoor screening at the Santee Auditorium, but kind of different dates scattered throughout the summer. And we're kicking things off on June 6th with Princess Mononoke. We're trying to, showcase and celebrate just the incredible director Hayao Miyazaki. He's kind of the auteur of anime. He really has set the bar very high, and we're expanding the course of his career and showing some of his iconic work. So people may be familiar with My Neighbor Totoro or Kiki's Delivery Service. We'll show certainly some of his classic films, but also films that may not be as well known, like Princess Mononoke. And we'll also have some expert speakers coming in from across the country to talk about the films, kind of their relevance within the world of film, also, of course, within anime, and just how they have changed that conversation. So Mononoke will be accompanied by Professor Shen from the University of Utah. She's a professor of animation in the College of Fine Arts. And so she'll kind of set the stage for us for the rest of the summer. And just, we're really excited to have everyone come out and see these great films and just kind of, build that excitement about independent cinema, but also animation and anime in a kind of a different way. But you can go to parkcityfilm.org, check out all the films we have programmed. Certainly get your tickets in advance because we do expect this to be quite popular this summer, and look forward to having everyone join us for those.
Wonderful. And that starts on June 6th.
Yes.
June 6th. So parkcityfilm.org for all of the details that you need. And anything else that we should be aware of? Summer programming, you mentioned pop-ups. How do we know when the pop-ups are happening?
So they're all pre-planned. So it's not, they're not going to be like flash mobs where you have to kind of be in the right place at the right time. So it's too difficult, just kind of scheduling wise and operationally to do all that. We can't be quite that spontaneous. But yeah, if you go to parkcityfilm.org, we have all of our pop-ups scheduled out. We'll be in Hennifer Hennifer City Park at the end of June. And we're going to show Ratatouille, so the classic film about the little mouse.
Favorites.
Yeah, so a great kind of family film, and just a great way to experience different parts of Summit County. I mean, that's really the idea, is that with the closure of our cinema here in town, there really aren't that many theaters, there's only 2 now, in all of Summit County. And so to bring the joy of cinema to all parts of our community, bring people together around these great stories. They're free and open to the public. What's fun about the pop-ups is we're partnering with not only North Summit Unite, so to kind of activate the community there and the partnership that we have with them, but also Summit County Behavioral Health is bringing in free food trucks. So it's dinner and a movie, all for free. Great way to celebrate summertime, your friends and neighbors, different parts of our community. For those of us that live on the west side, going out to parts of our community that maybe you haven't been to before. If you live on the east side, maybe exploring your own kind of part of Summit County. And certainly we invite folks to come back here to Park City. We've got screenings, of course, in the Santee with Studio Ghibli Film Festival, and then we'll do a couple of screenings on the patio of the Park City Library as well. So Kung Fu Panda 4 is to come in July. But lots of great things to come, and just kind of a fun way to celebrate summer and just being together and, communing around these great stories.
Wonderful. I have to say, Ratatouille and Kung Fu Panda both have influenced how I live my life. So I love that you're showing that. That's so much fun. Well, Katie, we appreciate all that you do in the community and all the films that you curate, and can't wait to see what you come back with from the Telluride Film Festival. So.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
It's going to be great. Well, enjoy your holiday weekend. Thank you for joining us and for always, giving us fun things to do throughout our community. Now we'll be back with more after this.
The Sheepdog Classic is something that we love as it makes its way to Midway and Soldier Hollow every year, and it is so much fun. And the voice behind the Sheepdogs, the MC of the entire event, is Matt Heimberger, and he's one of my absolute favorite people, so we can't wait to introduce him to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for something to do over Memorial Day weekend, then you won't want to miss out the 2024 Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship and Festival happening, as I mentioned, over Memorial Day weekend. And to tell us all about this exciting event, we have Matthew Heimberger, who is the announcer for the event, joining us today. Matthew, thanks for being here. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel great. I feel like spring has finally kind of come into the valley, and
Yes.
feel like we're going to set up just perfectly for the sheepdog competition. So feeling good.
Spring is springing, and you've got an exciting event happening May 24th through the 27th, which is just over Memorial Day weekend. Tell me a little bit about the sheepdog competition, the festival, kind of what we can expect for this year. I know you all are celebrating your 20th anniversary, so congratulations on that. But tell us what we can expect about this exciting sheepdog competition.
So, Julio, have you ever been to this before?
I have not, so I'm very excited to learn more. So tell me all about it.
All right, come. It's an addicting event, I'll tell you that. So the Sheepdog, the Soldier Hollow Classic, we call it, the Sheepdog Classic and Festival is happening, as you said, this Memorial Day weekend. It's our first year moving to the Memorial Day weekend. We were always during Labor Day weekend, which was fun, but a little warm for the dogs, a little uncomfortable sometimes. And so it's our 20th anniversary, but our first time for this happening over Memorial Day. So folks want to know that and keep that in mind. But it is an event that will surprise you. If you have not been, you will be taken by surprise at just how interesting it is. And I will admit, I've been here in the valley, in Heber Valley, since the beginning of this festival. And in the early days, I heard about it. I thought, yeah, it sounds kind of interesting. And I saw the movie Babe, and I, of course, had in my mind what Hollywood thought it would be. But when I finally took my family to it in the early years, we were mesmerized. It's hard to describe. It's almost like watching a Wimbledon match, where you're kind of quiet and you're watching and you're really invested in what's happening out on the field. But it's a partnership between some of the top shepherds and some of the top border collies in the world.
Yeah.
And it's this unique partnership of human and canine working together to send these sheep through basically an obstacle course, where sometimes the dogs are acting according to instinct and going out and getting these sheep and bringing them down. But then the handler says, okay, leave them there, go over and get those ones, now push them away, now take them on an angle. And so sometimes it's instinct, sometimes it's against instinct. And the whole time, Julio, the clock is running down. So they're trying to get through this obstacle course high up on the hill, bringing the sheep through gates, coming down and separating them based on collars. It's wild. And as the clock comes down, they have to get them into the small pen, and the audience is wanting to cheer or cry or scream, but they can't because they don't want to throw off the signals. And then, of course, either they make it or they don't. And that just happens throughout the day. That's the main event. And you just can't take your eyes off it. It's fantastic.
Oh my God, yeah, just hearing about it sounds like such a thrilling, exciting, but like you said, you don't want to disturb the dog, so you kind of have to, stay composed until you can finally cheer. So it sounds like it's a very exciting event, and I love what you mentioned, that relationship between the handler and the dog, that kind of almost trust and that relationship that has built. I think that also, it's much more than a competition. Obviously, everyone is there to watch the competition, but also kind of getting to watch the dynamic between the human and the dog. I think that's pretty exciting as well.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And I think about other sports competitions, and I love them all, of course, and I love seeing what humans can do alone, and I love seeing what we can do with our technology sometimes too. But this is a partnership between humans and canines, and it's a partnership that you can't just walk onto the field and hope that it comes together. They've been working at it for years and years, and sometimes they've been breeding for years and years to kind of get this line of a dog that is especially well suited to this kind of competition. Julio, all these dogs are working dogs. They work on ranches and they do this job for a living. When they come to this competition, it's a little bit different for them because now there's an audience. Right now there's fences where there's not supposed to be fences. And so again, sometimes the instinct of these dogs is to go out and get the job done. But now you got to do the job in a certain kind of way in a certain amount of time. And the dog who would normally just say, okay, I'm going to do it this way. No. Now you got to do it in a certain way. So it's a fascinating combination of sports competition and working prowess all happening before your eyes.
Matthew, now you mentioned that it is kind of a race against time. The clock is ticking. Is that how they're scored? Is it based on the fastest time, or kind of how is it scored? If you can give us a little crash course on the scoring.
Yeah, no, there's 3 days of qualifying for the finals, which are on Memorial Day itself. So a little bit different on the last day. But for the first 3 days, basically you've got 100 points that you start out with. And then for each section of the course, the judge, and there's a human judge. I don't know why we don't have a canine judge
Right.
too, but we haven't worked that part out yet. But the human judge is watching, and how well the handler and the dog work together to go up the mountain to find the sheep. That's called the outrun, and that's actually worth quite a few points all by itself out of that 100, because not only do they have to find the sheep, but you can't startle them, you can't attack them, you can't come, and all of a sudden make them scatter. So each little element, from the outrun to kind of bringing them down the mountain, bringing them around some posts, everything's worth points, and the judge will deduct depending on how well or how. And sometimes time can be a factor, of course. If they stall out, that can be an issue. But in the end, getting them into the pen before the clock runs out is really only worth 10 points. But by then, they've done so many other things that either they've had a great run or they haven't. And when they get into that pen and the audience erupts, well, that doesn't hurt either. So 100 points. And I'm trying to think, some of our highest achievements, I think I've seen a 95.
Wow.
So a dog and a handler that have done just remarkable work, and almost nothing went wrong, and the sheep obeyed them. I should mention the sheep, Julio, are they're from the Utah-Nevada border.
Okay.
They have not been in front of an audience either. They're not wild about being in this particular location with an audience and dogs and people and whistles. And so half of the fun is seeing how the sheep react.
Absolutely.
And the sheep thinks it's their competition, so they think they're the ones getting points. But that's not how the judge sees it.
Right. And as you mentioned, it's years of work and training that both the handlers and the dogs have gone through to try to score as many of those 100 points as possible. Now, that's all the competition part, which is obviously very exciting. But I also know there's a festival going on with lots of activities, vendors, booths. So tell me kind of about the festival part of the event.
Yeah, so the main event, of course, is watching that competition. But right behind that, all throughout the Soldier Hollow, and this is up at the ski venue, by the way, Soldier Hollow Nordic Center area, they will have demonstrations on training, how to train your dog, for agility, how to train your dog for strength. They'll have duck herding, which sounds crazy, but a young puppy or a young dog will practice learning how to herd sheep by working with ducks. And they, of course, are famously hard to herd, kind of like kindergarten children. They're just going to go wherever they're going to go. So there are police dog demonstrations where the dogs will demonstrate nose work and how good they can sniff out things. We have Navajo rug demonstrations and weaving demonstrations. We have oh my goodness, face painting. And of course, there are all kinds of vendor booths that sell things for humans and for canines, some beautiful crafts, some wonderful products that are brought here specifically for people to buy for their dogs. And the food is from all over the world, basically, and you'll have some wonderful opportunities. I haven't double checked my list to know if we have mutton this year. That always kind of struck me as kind of funny. But if we do, it's very tasty. I promise you that.
Lots of family fun, activity, food, vendors, lots of demonstrations, as Matthew mentioned, going on. And all of this is happening Memorial Day weekend, May 24th through the 27th. Matthew, where can folks go to learn more, purchase those tickets that I know are on sale now? Where can people go to find out more information?
They should go to our website, if they will. It's soldierhollowclassic.com. So very straightforward, very simple, but you can hop on there. You can learn about the competition. You can get kind of the rules, its history, see some of the people who have won in past years. You can read about the breed. These are mostly border collies, of course, but there are a few other breeds that have come up every once in a while and had some success at these competitions. But you can also buy your tickets there, and you can buy them in advance for a discount. Up until, I think, 7:59 a.m. each day. As long as you buy online, you'll get some money off those tickets. But otherwise, just come up to the gate and buy them there. It's a popular event for sure. We recommend that you bring, since it's Utah and it's spring, bring an umbrella if you've got one. If not, we'll have them there for purchase. We have water, but you might want to bring sunglasses. Just kind of think about spending a day outside. And if you think you're going to be there for a couple of hours, you will be surprised at how long you end up staying, because there's so much to do, so much to see, so much to enjoy. But just come and be a part of the Soldier Hollow Classic with us, and we'll direct you and show you why so many people who come back year after year after year. We have super fans that are here every year. They come as early as they possibly can and set up their chairs. It's kind of fun, and we cheer them and welcome them. And we welcome everybody.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be a blast. It's the 20th anniversary Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship and Festival happening for the first time over Memorial Day weekend, so don't miss out. May 24th through the 27th. Visit soldierhollowclassic.com for all the information and to purchase your tickets. And Matthew, thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing a little bit about this exciting event. You're the announcer, so we'll be seeing you and hearing you at the event, so looking forward to that, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Julio. Come and join us yourself, please.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Matthew. We'll see you soon. For everyone back at home, we're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back with more of the show, so stay tuned.
We want to thank you so much for tuning into your Friday edition of Wasatch Weekends. We love getting to be here and bring you all of this great information about some of our fabulous community events that you can get out there and enjoy. Now, make sure you mark your calendars for that Sheepdog Classic, only because it's one of those events you're not going to want to miss. I've been your host, Maddie Evans, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for your Saturday edition of Wasatch Weekends.